Hello and welcome to week 8, 2 months of my account update series. The account where I'll be spending roughly £50 each month in the hope of accelerating things in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. There's a lot to get through this week, quite a few updates in the account and changes to plans. So what I'm going to start with is actually a bit of a summary graphic in terms of progress that has been made over this week, and to also set the stage for some slight tweaks that I'm going to make. So let's hop on over to that. Okay, so here we are. This is just a little graphic I put together for roster reviews, which I do, but also is a nice way to keep track of my account and any progress made week on week. So the main thing I wanted to highlight is quite a simple thing, but I think does change quite a lot, is that within 59 days, so roughly 2 months now, I have grown to over 3 million now. So that is nearly 200,000 difference compared to 7 days ago. And in the last update, it was 10 days before the prior one, but I think that was like a 500,000 increase. And what's causing that is, yes, I'm working on ships a bit, which does accelerate GP growth a bit more, but also the lightspeed tokens, so the anniversary lightspeed tokens, and also like the lightspeed tokens we're getting from completing the episode track this week contributed to a lot. So that is really quick growth compared to what I've been used to in other accounts before, and is a lot quicker than I was anticipating, because my overall aim was to be ready for hard mode Conquest when I reached 4 million GP, and part of that was getting Galactic Legend Leia unlocked by then. But the rate at which this account is growing, I'm going to hit 4 million GP pretty soon. I reckon by the end of next month, by the end of February. This is just a rough guess that I might be 4 million. I'm not going to do anything to slow down that growth. There's not really any point in doing that. I'll just unlock hard mode Conquest when I do, but I want to maybe move things slightly around in my plan to make sure I'm just a little bit more ready once I do hit 4 million GP, because I really want to start getting those proving grounds done as soon as possible, and also it might give me a chance to unlock whatever the new Conquest character is. That might be a bit tricky for whatever the next one is, but could be possible with maybe a little bit of spending on the side. I was actually hoping by the time I started recording this that we get confirmation of the next Conquest unit. I think it's been teased, perhaps, I mean, I might be mispronouncing this, but Satel Shan, I didn't play the Old Republic games, but she could be potentially the next Conquest unit or whoever. So it would be really fun to start chasing these new Conquest units as soon as possible, and to do that I need to be ready for hard mode Conquest, and I'll go through in terms of my farming and plans how I'm going to do that. But I thought it would just be worthwhile setting the stage. And also you can see my guild has also grown quite a bit. I'm doing roster reviews, and I'm seeing even for free to play accounts, they're growing quite a bit week on week. So it's something that has really changed after the new update, and it just accelerates things faster and faster. In terms of some other stats, so I've just added mod score and mod quality. Mine is not great, and part of that is because of the rapid GP growth. I have been triple refreshing, or doing 3 refreshes of mod energy each day, I think for the past nearly month. And actually after I saw the score, I did improve things slightly, so it is at 0.9. Not that it makes much of a difference, but it is quite low, and that's just because I'm getting relics faster than I can get mods. That should hopefully start to equalize at some point, but at the moment mods are a bit of a luxury. In terms of raid, my guild jumped up another raid box, so we're now at box 5, which is fantastic stuff, and a large part of this was Keller and Beck coming as part of the Lightspeed tokens, and I was able to add another 600,000 onto my own score by taking him up to Relic 7, which is his requirement for Bo-Katan, and I was able to do the Relic 1 tier to get 600,000. Was quite RNG focused. I think I might need to work on his mods to maybe make that a bit more consistent. I've also jumped up another GAC league, which is great. Fleet staying the same. Coliseum I'll talk about at the end of this video, but I've seen a slight dip and sort of passed into the lower bracket, but I'll go through that in a little bit more detail later. No change in terms of assault battles. So let's jump back into the account. Alright, and let's head on over to my plans. So farming update. So I guess let's start with past farms just to show what's been finished. So I'm pretty happy with the state of my home 1 fleet, and as such I've moved the sort of focus on gearing and relics for the home 1 into the past farm section. Of course, Cassian Andor will still need to be relicked for profundity, but in terms of my focus on the home 1 fleet, that is pretty much stopped in terms of characters. I'm still working a little bit on their ships, but I'm in a good place in terms of the characters. In terms of other stuff, so as I mentioned, Keller and Beck went straight to Relic 7, which helped a lot with the raid, adding sort of more than doubling my score, and also a bit in Conquest. Wasn't necessary, but helped for the final days of normal mode Conquest. My current focus is on relicking the characters for profundity. I was able to do Jin last week, and I think if I'm prepared, I should be able to do Cassian up to Relic 8, which is his requirement level. So yeah, let's see how that gets on. I don't know why I was waiting for those stats. Let's do this nice and quick. This might jump up a bit in the edit. Yeah, so I've just been in the background a little bit more now, sort of focusing on getting certain characters to gear 13, and then it's been fairly easy actually to get the relics with the changes to the Mark II raid currency. And also we've been given loads of like Relic 8 and 9 material through the anniversary gifts and also the Christmas calendar that we had. So I'm actually nearly done in terms of Relic and Relic 8 and 9 that I need for profundity. I think it's just about 10 heat sinks, impulse detectors and aero magnifiers. Yeah, so I'll have enough today to take Cassian up to Relic 8, which is his requirement level, but on top of that I will just need 40 of each of these pieces for Admiral Radis, who's needed R9. So let's bump Cassian up to R8. I'm just doing this now to get it over with. No, he's not the most optimal R8 in the world, but I just like having things completed. And also with Relic Delta, even not the most optimal characters will have a little bit more use when it comes to things like GAC, just because you'll have a big Relic Delta against a lot of the characters that they'll be facing. So still good in terms of signal data. I'm not going to take him to Relic 9 because that's not his requirement, but if we pretend this was Admiral Radis, already have the droid brains and girder keypads, and actually through the next episode pass, which I'll be buying, I'll be able to get these, and I've got a bunch of Mark III saved up anyway, so good in terms of Relic 8 and 9 material. Yeah, so I think that makes these two done, which is great. I love sending them to past farms. All that I have left for profundity now is a couple of ships, and those are the things that will mean I won't be able to unlock profundity until the end of February. But in terms of relics, Mon Mothma is complete actually, even though she's at 6 stars. She's only needed at Relic 5 and not 7 stars. Admiral Radis, I used the Christmas Lightspeed token on, so I'm just farming now up to 7 stars, and once he's 7 stars I'll be able to take him up to Relic 9. I already put the Zetas and Omicron on for GAC just because it's a decent GAC team, and especially in the lower levels I'll be able to make a lot of use out of. The final one I'll probably use an Erodium Lightspeed token is on Dash. I can do him later because he is a Cantina farm, which means he will just be quicker to get from 6 stars to 7 stars, so that's why I'm leaving him till last. And also I don't have great use for him at the moment. Moving on, so at the end of the episode track we got unaligned Force user Lightspeed tokens, and I used one on Serjunda and one on Mara Jade. I used the slightly higher one on Mara Jade just because I'll have more use for her straight away. They're both required at least Relic 5. Serjunda's needed at Relic 7 for the Zepho mission, Mara Jade Relic 5 for Starkiller. But I already have the makings of an Empire team with Emperor Palpatine, Tarkin, those sort of guys, Darth Vader, so I'll be able to make more use of Mara Jade straight away, so that's why I chose to use the slightly higher token on her. So yeah, that was a nice addition. Serjunda is more of a long-term focus, Mara Jade more in the short term. Now I'm actually going to move on to what you will see as Leia requirements. It was always my plan to move on to Leia after Profundity and perhaps work on Leia before even finishing Profundity, because I only have essentially one relic to go, so I'm pretty much there. The rest is just ship farming. But I realized something that meant I could accelerate this even more, and as I explained in the stats page, I really want to accelerate this to be as ready for hard mode Conquest as I can, and I think having Leia would be great for that. Yes, I could go for other options like Great Mothers, but I think given the timelines it actually makes sense just to accelerate a farm I was already working on, the Leia farm, and have her ready to go, because as a GL she's just going to be that much more versatile and really help in Conquest and also other game modes as well. And the reason she can be accelerated in my mind is that it completely passed me by that I could use Rolo at only 6 stars to unlock Leia. I always assumed that for characters that you had to use, let's actually jump on over to the Leia unlock. I knew that for characters that were just required here, you could have them at lower stars as long as you reach the relics. But for some reason I got it into my mind that you needed them at 7 stars in order to do the missions. I had a look around Reddit and also just checking through here, and that's not the case for, I think, GLs. I think it might be the case for a few other journey guides, and that's why I got things confused there. But you only need Rolo at Relic 5, which would be 6 stars, which essentially saves me 100 shards that I would need in order to get Rolo Rebel Officer Leia Organa as a requirement, which is great because she is a very annoying farm. She either needs Mark 2 or Guild Event 2 currency. I'm going to try as much as possible to only use Guild Event 2 currency and not use any Mark 2, because I will be getting her shards from, I think, at least one more light side territory battle that my guild does, and also she does pop up in the Galactic Bounties event for 20 shards. So this, just using this currency and those other sources, I might be able to get her up to 6 stars quite soon. And the date I have in mind is actually very similar to the Profundity, and it's the end of February. So maybe start of March, but let's say about 2 months from now, my plan would be to be ready for Leia or have her unlocked and relicked already, and that's because of these anniversary Lightspeed tokens. So in February we are getting like the CLS journey Lightspeed tokens that will end with CLS, and also a droid Lightspeed token for 3PO and Chewie. R2D2 will come at the end of this month. So at the end of February, I'll be able to make use of these. It will mean that I won't be able to wait until the end of March for the Bounty Hunter Lightspeed token, but that's not an issue because I do at one point quite soon want to go for Jabba, so I can make use of that Bounty Hunter token for Chrysanthemum most likely. So I'm fine changing Bausch to either a Rhodium Lightspeed token through Era currency or just farming her up to gear 13. So I think potentially by the end of February, if I apply Rhodium Lightspeed tokens to these characters and also Dash, so it might be fairly tight to do that. I might have to relic one of these characters in addition. We'll see how things go. We'll see how Coliseum performance continues to go. And then take these 4 characters up to gear 13, which should be possible because I've just finished all of the, let's say the natural relicking I'm doing for Profundity. So I can focus fully on just getting these 4 characters and maybe one of these other ones up to relics, and I think I can do that all within 2 months for the end of February or start of March, which is roughly when I think I'll start to be hitting that 4 million GP, just given the recent growth. And I've ordered things in order to farm them because Rhodium Lightspeed tokens only go up to 6 stars, so I'm putting the more difficult farms early, and then the easier or Cantina farms at the end. So I think if I'm organized enough, I should be able to essentially line up getting Leia and Profundity at the same time, which would be pretty cool. And that is because I'm pretty much nearly ready for Profundity. I would just need the ships, and for Leia I do have I want to wait for these Lightspeed tokens anyway, so there's no point in rushing for Leia even sooner. So it just so happens that I think I could unlock them about the same time. So, and because of that, I've moved other farms back a little bit. For instance, I might go for Han Solo to be a pilot for the Millennium Falcon after I know I've completed the Leia requirements, just because I will have Chewbacca through the Lightspeed token already, and I can just stick gear 12 on him, which should be fine as a pilot, but I'll relic him soon after. And then in the background, I'm starting to slow farm some of the Jedi Knight Cal Kestis requirements, and also I've removed from here for now, but I will do probably after I unlock Leia. I will then do the Imperial Troopers for their assault battle. I don't think my plan was to do them this month in January, but I would rather have Leia and Profundity unlocked ready to go rather than get those couple extra months of that assault battle. So I've just decided to push them back a bit, probably into about March, and I'll miss out on a couple of runs of that assault battle at higher tiers, or those 2 assault battles, but I think that's absolutely fine, and I'd rather be ready for Conquest earlier than have those assault battles. So yeah, that's the plan. I made up a little graphic for my plan just to visualize things a little bit better. All right, so yeah, I made this about a few weeks ago for my plan from December, so we're a little bit further forward, so I've completed the home one part of it, but first focus is Profundity. I definitely want to be ready for the end of that month to unlock Profundity, but parallel to that I'm going to be working on Leia, as I've mentioned, and then I've just moved things slightly back afterwards. Then I'll swing round and complete the assault battles. I may do the Inquisitor ones when they come out at the end of January. That all depends on, can I do them without Grand Inquisitor at CT1 with minimal investment? If I can, then I will, but for Imperial Troopers will require a little bit more investment, and I think a relic on General Veers most likely, so I'll just wait till after these 2 big farms. And then it's very similar. I'm slowly working on Jedi Knight Cal Kestis in the background. I think I'll do the same for Revan, just because it's a very easy farm to do with the Carbonite Lightspeed tokens. And then once Bo-Katan, once those Mandalorian Lightspeed tokens come out at the end of April, I'll be able to work on her. And then also Executor. So the thing that's slowing down Executor is the Beskar Armor Mandalorian Lightspeed token, and also the Razor Crest, which I am farming but is just very slow. So I might not be ready with Executor until about May, June anyway. And then afterwards, starting to look ahead to what could be next, I think it'll either be Great Mothers and the Peridia Patrol to essentially get another strong team and also 2 assault battles, or Jabba for the mods. I think if possible I will go for Jabba first, just because mods will be a bit of a bottleneck on this account, but that will depend on things like what Lightspeed tokens we get. This is going to be past May the 5th, so maybe we'll get some cool stuff there. So this is quite far into the future, so I'm leaving this quite open. And then, as I've mentioned before, Starkiller, I'm essentially just waiting on Darth Talon. So if a Sith Lightspeed token pops up, then I may as well go for Starkiller at that point. So yeah, that's the plans. Let's hop back into the account for some other updates. Okay, so let's actually head on over to ships, which has been my focus for the past few weeks in improving in Fleet Arena. Progress on the Home One fleet is good. Through the episode shipments, I've been able to get Rebel B-Wing to 4 stars. I'm hoping that becomes farmable very soon, maybe even today as I'm recording this. But I'm fairly comfortably able to get number 1 in the fleet for now, and eventually I will stop focusing so much on his fleet and turn my attention to saving materials for Profundity in just under 2 months. Continue to work on Ravensclaw, Business U-Wing, which is a requirement for Profundity. This will maybe be the last ship I finish, or Outrider, and these are the 2 ships that are really preventing me from finishing Profundity earlier. It just, without buying really low value packs, it just wouldn't really be possible. So I'm just going to be patient and wait for these to complete, which should be, I'm hoping by the end of February, these 2 should be ready. And then farming other stuff like Punishing One and Rogue One for the Profundity and Executor fleets in the future. Yep, so good progress there, and yeah, slowly getting there towards Profundity. Right, so in terms of actual fleet arena, so doing pretty well at the moment. I've been able to get first every day, apart from days I'm just not available during the payout. So yeah, pretty good crystal income. And I think the thing I was worried about with fleets, and this is just pure luck really, is that will a Lightspeed bundle like the Profundity Lightspeed bundle come out and basically make it really difficult for me to climb until I get a Profundity of my own, because I'm not buying that many Lightspeed bundles on this account, and that just thankfully hasn't happened. I would have expected that to happen over Christmas, and it may still over the next couple of months, but I'm getting so close to the unlock that it's less of an issue, and it's just the negotiators from the Jedi Master Kenobi Lightspeed bundle that are there that are good, but Home One can do quite well against them. So yeah, good progress with fleet. The other thing I wanted to touch on is raid. So I mentioned in the summary that our guild has moved up raid box. If I just go into that here, rewards. Yeah, so we've jumped up to this box, which is 2,000 error currency, Mark 3 raid currency. I think it's a bit of a jump up to the next one, so I think this is a pretty good spot for now, and I think the focus is going to turn onto other things. In terms of my own personal rewards, I've been able to hit the 1 million mark, and similar to the overall guild rewards, I think it's a bit of a jump to the 1.7 million, so I'm probably just going to stick at this level for now, which is good. I get a decent amount of Mark 2. I think, how much is that? like 900. Yeah, 900 Mark II, a bunch of Mark III. So yeah, pretty happy with Raid, and that's probably me finished with Raid until the next one comes out, I would imagine. Okay, just also what happened last week is Conquest finished, so I was able to get to the gold box in normal mode, which gave a good amount of gear that really helped in terms of relicking Cassian Andor. But I guess just to demonstrate that did happen, was able to get a few shards for, I can't find him in here, the Stranger. Obviously I'm not going to unlock him anytime soon, but a nice little head start when he goes into Proving Grounds, and I think I'll get some shards of him as the secondary character in the next few conquests, which is good. Another thing is that after I finished Conquest, I farmed a few extra Datacrons, which feels very extravagant on an account this size, but that's because of the whole mess up they had. They gave out a bunch of reroll mats and also made it a lot cheaper to upgrade in terms of data cache, which is good because I normally wouldn't buy data cache because it eats into shard shop currency, which I need for gear, but that wasn't that expensive this time, so I decided to splurge, and I've got 4 level 9s and a couple level 3s. That should be more than enough for Carbonite GAC. I did actually forget to, I think, re-roll 1 or 2 of these before GAC lock, annoyingly. I'll try to remember to do that for next time. Oh, okay, I was waiting for this. Okay, looks like the update is coming, so you may see either an addition at the start of the video or at the end of the video or a separate video. I was waiting on this for a few things mainly related to Coliseum, so yeah, that could be very interesting indeed. Right, so the other thing that I wanted to touch on is GAC. I've moved up to Carbonite 2. Little bit of an improvement in terms of crystals, it's not much, but yeah, I think obviously spending, this is news to no one, but spending helps early on, and I think it's mainly the SWGOH Lightspeed bundle that's helped in terms of early performance. Once I get things like the Profundity and Leia, I really should be able to climb like up to Chromium, but even things like having the home one and the half decent sort of Executrix Bounty Hunter fleet has helped in Carbonite, because most people don't really have any good ships at all, so it's been pretty nice. And finally, for Coliseum, now this may be cut or changed or maybe an addition depending on what the update is, but I have slowly dipped down positions, I think due to a few reasons. So yeah, I got to 35. I've been hovering about the low 30s. I was 31 for I think like 2 or 3 days in a row, which is really annoying. So I've been getting 300 error currency a day, which is good. Obviously we'd like to get 500, but I think there's 2 reasons. One is I think it counts with just higher stars have been able to catch up a little bit more recently. Like if we go to the top 30, I guess let's go to 30th here. Yeah, so the issue for me is I'm only getting characters up to 4 stars, and when they have certain characters above that, they do get a stat increase, and I've just been able to push a little bit more. I've also noticed that people have been spending a bit on error currency, which I haven't been doing, which is fine. I'm just choosing not to do that because I think we're about to be gated pretty soon anyway at about error level 70. So I'm just going to be a little bit patient and not spend an error currency. The other thing I have been doing, now this is a big gamble. Well, no, it's not a big gamble because I don't think my rank would change because I was already slipping outside of the top 30, is I've actually been hoarding quests and completing quests, because the last time we had an update to move from one episode to another, they increased the currency amount that we got in this box. I'm not going to click on it, but they increased it from like 1500 to 7500. So there's a chance with the update that is actually coming today that they do the same. So I decided to experiment a little, and instead of like completing these quests and claiming the era currency. I'm just going to wait until the update to see if that era level currency amount increases, to maybe just get a sneaky extra bit of currency, which could help things. So this is just, I'm just playing around with things and seeing if there's a slight trick that could be played there. But yeah, that's the reason. I'm not too worried about slipping into this rank. I think it should be fine in the long run. All right, so we've just got the first update of the year. I was just recording my account update video, but thought I'd have a look at this as well and see how that could impact things. So this is just their update notes, basically going through all of the characters that have been added. Of most importance to me would be Rebel B-Wing being added to Cantina. Now that is interesting. That quite an expensive node, but will mean I can get that ship up quickly, which is quite interesting. Satio Shan, I think I mentioned in the video, but is confirmed as the next Conquest character, and adding in Maul. And there's an added to drop event coming up on the 9th, so in 2 days time, really only 1 day of hoarding for the dark side clone characters, which could be interesting to some folk, but maybe not too impactful for this account. Let's jump into the game. Okay, so in terms of all of the news and stuff, these are just the locations. I'm not going to bother about Forlam and Zuckus. Rebel B-Wing, I will probably start farming on Cantina. I think I'm relatively okay for signal data at the moment, so may just do that. Where am I going here? Newsletter. Yeah, we just got Mo Hatefield and Barris added. The thing that I want to have a look at is that I don't know whether this will be before or after this segment, but I did mention that I was saving up quests by not claiming the episode points, just because I was expecting an increase in the amount of level up currency we get, because last time when the update before the next episode came, there was an increase. So let's just check that. I've got one ready to go. Yes, so quite a big increase from 7,500 to 38,000. I'm quite glad I've saved that, to be honest. So I will now go through and claim this. So this might be a little potential mini strategy going forward if things stay the same, and that would be to just before, normally the updates on a Wednesday, so in the few days before, maybe don't claim all of your episode sort of feats, and if you do, I guess you can claim them, but just don't claim the box at the end, because there seems to be quite a sizable jump up in level currency at the end of each episode, which is a month long usually, so might be a nice way just to eke out that little extra level up currency, because if I spent this a day ago, it would have been like a quarter of the amount. So yeah, and I'll just be able to complete these feats that come with episode pass and get a little bit more. And yeah, so that's pretty exciting stuff, which should mean I will have a lot. I'll now be bottlenecked by gear most likely, but I should at least have the era level up currency to take up these guys a bit more. So I'll do that off the video, but that should be a little bit more progress when it comes to Coliseum again, which is great. The other thing I did want to touch on is actually in the data mines, so let's head on over to that. Alright, so in the data mines there's a few other extra bits and pieces, such as the additive drops coming for the clone troopers and proving grounds for Jocasta New. Actually, I did want to show there's some very unusual game assets that dropped. So this is for the next Conquest characters. These are Inquisitor Lightspeed tokens. That's really not much to pay attention to because we'll get them through the quests anyway. I don't know what these guys are. I don't know why Padawan Obi-Wan and General Kenobi and Jedi Master Kenobi. Oh, I guess all of the Kenobis. I don't know why I didn't make that connection. Old Ben isn't here. All of the prequel Kenobis are glowing. I literally no idea. And we have like a cool looking camouflage scout trooper. I have no idea what these could be for. But I'm very intrigued by this. My first thought was, is there some sort of, I'd hate to say it, but like cosmetic? Yeah, no idea what that is. Let me know if you know. But what I wanted to go to was general data mine and this little video. So someone's gone in and had a look at the rewards for Maul, which I'll pause it here. So this is the first tier. So this requires 4 stars. So if you buy the episode pass, which I did for this account, you will be able to do the 4-star tier. You get a bunch of gear, which is, I think, just to catch them all up. To be honest, it's not that impactful. But what you do get is seemingly 2 Kyber Lightspeed tokens that you can use on anyone, which is crazy. That is insane stuff, just for essentially buying the episode pass. Or you don't have to, you could do it free to play and buy a few packs and get to 4 stars. That might start to become worth it if you're a more developed free to play account, because you can essentially just maybe convert crystals into Kyber Lightspeed tokens. Yeah, it might not be completely worth it, but definitely if you buy the episode pass, it would be. If we then go on to the second, so this is for 5 stars, you get 3 Kyber Lightspeed tokens. Now, I probably won't get to 5 stars for this era, but if this is consistent between eras, then that does make it very tempting to early on push for 5-star marquees, maybe save up a little bit of crystals. I think it'd normally take about 3 packs on top of what you get through the episode pass to get to 5 stars. Because if you're getting 3 Kyber Lightspeed tokens and also you're getting a little bit of, this is level 70 to 80 gear, I think maybe enough to take a handful of characters up to level 75, which would be relics. So that would be helpful. And also having 5 stars and higher relics, higher era level would be helpful in terms of general Coliseum performance. So it might be that saving crystals for 5-star marquees, even for a very early account, if you're spending a bit, might be worthwhile, because it's a crazy 5 Kyber Lightspeed tokens. I genuinely don't know how I feel about that, because I guess part of the reason I started this account is I enjoy the farming aspect. If I'm just getting 5 characters every 3 months just to 7 stars and relics, then I don't know how much farming is going to be left. So I'm going to have to think about, what do I actually want to do? That it might be the most efficient thing to do is take characters up to 5 stars if you're buying the episode pass, but is it the most fun? I don't know. I'm going to have to think about it. Yeah, so I thought I'd drop in, have a little look at the update. The main takeaway for me is level up, currency increase, and B-Wing is now farmable on Cantina, which is great. I think I will start to do that. So yeah, let's hop back to the video. That's another long update. I'm going to hop on over to my sort of stats and summaries for those interested in that. So let's do that. Okay, so spending this week, very complex. I've spent 0 this week. I think the last thing I bought was this Lightspeed token, a Lightspeed bundle, just before Christmas. The next thing I will buy will probably be another episode pass. So as you can see by this chart, I'm slowly starting to eke back towards my target, which is £50 a month. Maybe by the end of next month, I'll be back on track. The reason I'm ahead of it was because of the early spending on like the SLKR Lightspeed bundle and a few extra things at the very start just to kickstart the account. But returning back towards my target spending rate, which is good. In terms of my performance over the last week, which is highlighted in this yellow, You can see my era rank has slowly dipped just below the rank 30 mark due to the reasons I mentioned. I'm not too worried about it. I'm pretty happy spending any time in the top 30, and maybe with like the changes in the next marquee I can maybe find a way to get back into the top 30, but I also don't want to spend speculatively in order to get there, because we only have about a month, just over a month of this era left, and as I mentioned, I think we're going to be capped in terms of material that you can get freely, level 70, so I don't think there's going to be too much purpose in spending just to get capped by that level anyway. So I'm still happy with era performance. Fleet has been very good, so consistently being able to get first, apart from I think I was out at the cinema this day, so couldn't climb during my payout. So yeah, that's been going pretty well, and that takes me to the end of today's update. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. I would be very appreciative if you left a like or a comment or subscribed if you did enjoy the video, and yeah, thank you very much, and see you next time.